What a great schus we have to have as the manhig, the leader of this generation, the Ashkenazi community, Gershon, Edelstein, Rashiv, and Panovich. And once again, as Rav Gershon often does, as we get ready for Yom Kippur, Rav Gershon advises us, what can we do to have an incredibly good year, a year filled with blessing, a year filled with prosperity, a year filled with happiness? Here's a Rav who's close to 100 years old, and he's so full of life and joy. What's his secrets? And I'll tell you what I think. Rav Gershon has said many, many times, and we've said many, many times, says Rav Gershon, if somebody does something to you that upsets you, should you get upset? We would all say, it's human nature. People get upset. Somebody does something that hurts you, of course you get upset. Says Rav Gershon, that's a mistake. Kol ma da'abid rachmanu l'toiv avid. Somebody could do the worst possible thing to you you can imagine. Right? Now, I'm not talking about financial responsibilities. That's a different thing. By Tefillah Zakai, we say that we're not exempting from financial responsibilities. If someone damages your property, or causes you financial harm, you claim the money. I'm talking about emotional feeling that I was hurt. Somebody did harm me. Someone did something to me that caused me emotional trauma. Yeah? Says Rabbi Gershon, there is no such thing. Because Kol Ma Da'avid Rachmanu L'Toivah. Everything that happened in this world was a nigzor from Shemayim. And if it was going to happen, it's going to happen anyway. It doesn't matter if it's Reuven, Shimon, Yisachar, Zvulun, however it happens, it's going to happen. Right? And therefore, we should never ever place the blame on any person. We never should have bad feelings about somebody. We should never think that somebody wronged us, somebody hurt us. It's going to happen anyway. I just want to tell you a story. I was here in Hadassah in Kerem before Rosh Hashanah, and I was supposed to stay. They have a little hotel here nearby, Malonit they call it, and somebody had sponsored my stay, 2-night stay there, but the hotel wouldn't take their credit card, and I wasn't able to procure a payment in another way. So instead, I was told that there's a room where you could sleep on the floor. It seemed to me fine. It's Rosh Hashanah. It's every year, which is poor in the beginning, is rich in the end. It seemed a really good way to do it. So I got here early at Rosh Hashanah, and I'm trying to figure out where's this room. I want to have a place at least on the floor to sleep. And I asked many, many people, and everybody was so busy. They were doing important things. But this person pushed me off, and this person pushed me off, and this person pushed me off. By the time I got to Mincha, I felt like such a rush. I felt like such a poor person. I can't even find a place to sleep on the floor. Rabbi Akiva, the Gemara in the Dharm says Rabbi Akiva that he was living in abject poverty. And Eliyahu Navi came to him and asked for some straw. So at least he should feel that somebody poured them. But here I am. I was supposed to sleep in a hotel. And now I can't even find a place to sleep on the floor. I daven mincha like such a rush. So many people had pushed me off. And in fact, the place wasn't where. There was a guy right there. All he had to do was point to the place. And Baruch Hashem, after mincha, there was somebody there. I asked him. He took me there and he showed me there. And I realized I wasn't upset at one person. First of all, they were busy getting ready for that. But number two, it was one of the best minchas erev Rosh Hashanah that I ever done in my life, because I felt like such a rock. And as we said, every year which is poor in the beginning will be rich in the end. And Rashi says, "V'tachanunim." A person has to humble himself to Hashem. And what better way to humble yourself to Hashem, being in a hospital over Rosh Hashanah and not even sure they have any place to sleep? There probably couldn't be a better way than a person should humble themselves. So as we come into the new year and we're looking for things that we could do to improve ourselves, to make our life better, to have a year filled with happiness and joy and simcha and siyata d'shmaya. So Gershon Edelstein guy, he says, someone does something to you, don't get upset. Or try. Look, it's very high levels. Yeah? But say, call Mad Abed. We should know this is Rosh Hashanah. I must have said it 100 times. Yeah? And I asked somebody, pushed me off, and said, call Mad Abed 10 times, 20 times, again, and again, and again, and again. Right? And Just that's the way it went for 5 hours. Yeah. Finally, after Mincha, I asked this young man, and I said, "No, excuse me, I've been trying to find this place for 5 hours." He said, "I'm so sorry." He took me over there. He showed me, and Baruch Hashem, I got the last mattress on the floor, Rosh Hashanah, and it was fine. It slept fine. Right? I won't know if I could say it was 5 stars, but it was certainly very sweet. It was certainly very sweet having a bed on the floor for Rosh Hashanah instead of not having any bed. So this is something we can really keep in mind for the upcoming year as much as possible. And I know how hard it is. I have a hard time myself with it. Yeah. But the next time somebody pushes you off, he doesn't listen to what you're saying, he doesn't respect you, he says something nasty to you. Yeah. I asked someone to come visit my wife over Yontif, and so exactly that, my wife wanted to go out for a few minutes. We went out. Anyway, so just as right before we got back, they walked up 7 flights of stairs to come visit my wife. And I went to shul. The guy screamed at me. He said, "We walked 7 flights of stairs to see your wife when you weren't there." I'm like, "I'm so sorry." Like, I tried to tell her, you know how it is with, when if somebody's sick, sometimes they need to get some air. In any event, it was painful. It's painful when you get screamed at on Rosh Hashanah. But I understood it was hard walking up 7 flights of stairs, an older person, and I just accepted it. I said, "Come on, David." I went on, and afterwards, it was like nothing happened. Yeah, the guy said to me, "A good Gewinster." That's it. This is how we should leave our days and weeks and months and years. Just as my Rebbe or Shlomo Brevdas, that's how I say. Like they said in that country where I used to live, that's England. It's like water off a duck's back. Just let it roll. Let it roll. Somebody says something to you really nasty, let it roll. Because it wasn't from him, it would be someone else. You needed to get that pain today. It was mechap on your Averos. 100 Averos just went, yeah? And maybe it's 1,000, and maybe it's 1,000,000. Depends how accepted love it is. So Hashem should help us in this very, very challenging endeavor, the Tafshin Pei Gimel, that we should understand that nothing happens by chance, and everything is a expression of Hashem's will. We should live that and breathe it, and all the time work on ourselves. And if we do that, we're going to have the most happy life. Amen. Kate.